In this lesson, I'm going to explain what cryptocurrency mining is. Actually, what I'm really talking about here is what are the different mechanisms that cryptocurrencies use in order to achieve consensus and to secure their blockchain. As we already established, blockchains are a chain of digital blocks. These blocks are continuously created by miners, people running special high powered computers. Now, why is this important for you and for me to know about? Well, for one, it's pretty gosh darn interesting to understand how the network actually operates. But more importantly, you can also be a miner and earn a commission of Bitcoin for doing your part to secure the network. Also, remember that you do not need to be a master of understanding the intricacies of mining to be able to use Bitcoin, or to mine Bitcoin for that matter. This is just an overview for you so you can understand the basics of how it all works. So the primary method of mining is done via what is called proof of work mining. This is where computers perform tasks to prove that they have done the work required to secure the network. Mining and miners are the most important part of any cryptocurrency network that uses proof of work. And mining, much like buying cryptocurrency, requires investment. In this case, you'll need to invest in hardware and also in significant amounts of electricity. Now, the miners are basically bookkeepers. They provide the required computational power to solve complicated puzzles, which is then necessary to confirm transactions and to record that data on the public blockchain. For performing their very important task of bookkeeping for the network, miners are rewarded with the reward from the block, which is mined, and the fees that go with it. Now, whoever solves the puzzle first gets the privilege of being allowed to mine that block. Here's an analogy for you to kind of visualize how this actually works. Let's imagine that there are a bunch of accountants standing around and you ask them a riddle. Now, the accountant who gets the riddle right gets the privilege to then write down this one page of the accounting book, which is the block. The reward for performing this work is a set amount of newly created cryptocurrency. In the example of Bitcoin, it will be 12.5 Bitcoin. Plus, anyone who wants their transaction recorded on that particular block or page in this example needs to pay the accountant a small fee for the accountant to write that in. So the reward for one block is currently 12.5 Bitcoin plus the fees. For the next block, a new riddle will be made. The more accountants competing for the prize, the harder the riddle will become to solve. Now, it gets to a point where the cryptographic puzzles become so hard that no one single miner can solve it by themselves. Thus, they will need to combine their power and they will split the rewards by putting their heads together and working together. These are called mining pools, and if you're planning on mining at home, then joining a pool is exactly what you will need to do in order to be rewarded for mining. Please note you will have to pay a small fee to the owners of the pool for providing the service of letting you pool up your resources. Now it's time for a short word here on mining difficulty. The more miners competing for the same block, the more difficult it will become to be the one who gets the block reward. The fewer miners competing, the less difficult it is. The more popular a cryptocurrency becomes, the more people want to mine that cryptocurrency, the harder that cryptocurrency becomes to mine because it keeps getting more and more difficult to compete for that same set reward. So long gone are the days of mining Bitcoin with a laptop. So you can throw that idea right out of your head. Today, mining is done with purpose-built computers called ASICs. These computers can cost from hundreds to thousands of dollars a piece depending on how powerful they are. And there are now major mining farms with millions of dollars invested which exist all over the world. Yes, there are some very rare and obscure cryptocurrencies which can be mined profitably with your home computer. But there are also many which can be mined with graphics cards, the type that you might find in a gaming laptop, for example, or in a gaming desktop computer. And these particular cryptocurrencies often cannot be mined with the more powerful specific computers like you see with Bitcoin. Now, if you want to mine at home, it can actually be really easy to do. But, this is a big but, unless you have access to very cheap energy, it is incredibly unlikely to be profitable for you. The majority of the top cryptocurrencies, the game has become so big and competitive, major businesses and corporations are signing deals directly with power companies and have giant warehouses full of these things, and they can move countries at the drop of a hat if business conditions change. That's who you're competing with. It's a very tough industry these days to be profitable. If you have cheap enough power, possible. Mining cryptocurrencies that use a graphics card tend to be more profitable for home miners. But if your power is cheap enough, then yes, you can mine Bitcoin or Litecoin or Dash or some other cryptocurrency at home. Please take the time to do the mathematics before buying any cryptocurrency mining hardware. Please understand that on top of the price of the unit itself, which is significant, you will also need to buy a power supply unit. You'll need to pay for shipping, usually from China, and likely have to pay a substantial customs tax, all of which can add a few $100s to the total price. Please be aware of these hidden costs. Do also understand just how powerful that machine actually is. How much are you likely to mine with that machine? How much will it cost you to run that machine every single month? Also, you really need to remember that network conditions can change very quickly in Bitcoin, and that your machine, while potentially profitable today when you buy it, may become unprofitable in the space of a few weeks or a few months as new miners enter the network or a newer, much more powerful machine comes on to the market. I've seen this happen many times before. This, of course, can result in you being unable to get a return on your investment of that very expensive computer. Mining is risky, but also potentially very profitable. Now, should you want to buy a mining computer, the major companies which sell them are Bitmain and Avalon for Bitcoin and Litecoin mining. There will be links in the description for those should you want to get yourselves a Bitcoin miner. Now, if you want to mine a wider range of altcoins, then you may want to consider buying half a dozen graphics cards and building your own mining rig at home, which can be a lot of fun. And look, there are a great many tutorials out there online that you can check out to figure out how to do that. But you have got to have a basic understanding of technology to be able to pull this off. So if you're totally a technophobe, probably not the solution for you. Buying a Bitcoin miner, if the economics work for you, it's basically plug and play, so it keeps it a lot easier. The one thing, though, that is unlikely to make you money is cloud mining. This is where you pay someone else to mine on your behalf via a website. They take care of running the computers, they have access to cheap electricity, they have all the technical know-how. It seems very attractive on the face of it. However, the majority of these services are straight up scams. However, there are some rare companies that provide an actual service and are not simply Ponzi schemes, but even these companies are not recommended. The margins are way too small, the prices are too high, there is zero accountability, almost no transparency, and even a slight change in the market conditions can leave you out of your entire investment very, very quickly. And the company, they just walk away with your hard-earned money, and you have almost no possibility of refund or recourse. Buy your own hardware if you can and if it will be profitable for you, or just buy Bitcoin and forget about it. You do not need to be a Bitcoin miner to own Bitcoin. You can just buy and hold and forget about all that. But now you at least know what mining is and how it works and how you can get involved if you want to.